A Valley Without Wind is truly a unique and different experience. It's an endless world filled with exploration under the constant threat of death. In a few minutes, we will either discover an empty valley or see just how far the wind can blow. When the game starts, you create a world and set a platforming, city build, and combat difficulty. I left mine set to default and found it adequately difficult. The game tells you right away not to get attached to your character, because it's not a question of if you will die, but when. When your character dies, it is permanently lost, but you keep all your items, skills, and game progression. You are alone in the middle of a large world generated algorithmically. This is my world and no one else's. There was something appealing about that. If you'd rather travel with someone, there are options for local and online multiplayer. If you have trouble joining the servers, you might have to open ports to get connection. While in multiplayer, the game doesn't change at all. You just have another person to keep you company and help in battle. The graphics are charming to say the least, and I thought they worked well with the gameplay. The entire game is based off exploration, so it's important to have something nice to look at. My only complaint were that most of the enemies were floating elementals or effects, and some of the characters are repetitive and kind of stiff. Your mission is to defeat the continent's evil overlord. You can go to him right away, but unless you want your head served to him on a silver platter, I recommend leveling up first. The grinding is not as bad as Final Fantasy, but you need to defeat waves of enemies to level skills, find items, and unlock special treasures and rewards. There were little problems with the AI, except for sometimes when they'd get stuck and made for an easy defeat. There also wasn't too big a variety of different ways you could get attacked. The enemy either shoots you, walks into you, or floats above you casting spells. But hey, this is a platform game, and that's what platform enemies do best. Your character obtains spells of different strengths and element types. To level up these skills, you will need crafting items obtained from enemies or the environment. Some spells can demolish trees and rocks, and you can pick up their residual drops. The best crafting materials and spells come from completing missions spread across the map. They are mostly no more interesting than exploring the map on your own, but the reward is exciting enough to want to complete it. They include assassinating a certain enemy, rescuing a town member, or falling down a long corridor. With all that, I haven't even mentioned the game's settlement building command elements like sending survivors off to do your bidding and gem crafting. The soundtrack had me cringing at times, but now considering, it might be perfect for this type of game. A Valley Without Wind has some elements that can draw you in long term, but you've got to play it a long time to let it grow on you. The game ran smoothly at all times and never even fluttered even while recording. It can get a little repetitive at times, and some of the missions were not exciting to undertake. I also wasn't impressed with boss battles and puzzle solving. With all this, I'm still tempted to jump back into my world and explore a little further. The game hasn't ended yet, and the Overlord awaits.